Hello there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode, oops, that's all crooked, of Wednesday Whimsy. Wednesday Whimsy is a short show that I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game, a top 10 list, or some other board game related topic, whatever happens to be on my mind. My name's Kyle, by the way. So I follow what's coming out in board games, right? This is kind of my hobby, so it's obviously what I'm going to do. Board game Essen Spielmesse is a great big release time, and there was a game coming out that I just knew I needed to have. So I pre-ordered one from the IPA game shop. I got one of the last copies that was there for pre-order. I spent way more than the cost of the game to have it shipped to me. But I just knew I would need this game. And this game is, so one of my favorite games of all time is Revive. And this is kind of the sequel to Revive. It is called Recall. So we'll tell you a little bit about Recall. Let you see if it lives up to the hype that I had for it. And I'll tell you what I think. So what is it about? Well, so this is the hard part. I don't really know what the game's about, right? You're some sort of tribe of people, and you're going around looking for ancient knowledge, and you're trying to collect these relic cubes and build buildings and score the most points. It's very much a Euro game. The theme is there, kind of, sort of, but it's not particularly strong. So what is it about? It's about interesting and satisfying board game mechanisms. Even if you read the entry on Board Game Geek, it starts not by saying, you're lost in a world. It says it's a deep strategy game that focuses on engine building and exploration. So, the theme here is really nothing to shout about. So how does it work? Well, so if you're familiar so this game is always going to be compared to Revive. It is, I think, the same designers and same team that was involved with Revive, but it is a very different game. I think the comparisons are perhaps less apt than they could be. Excuse me. I gotta wake up here on Wednesday evening. So what you have in Recall, is your main mechanism is you have this board, and it's going to have these slots for key cards. That's what they're called. So you'll see here, I'm showing it. So we have this is a player board, okay? So on your turn, you're going to take one of these key cards, you're going to slot it in, and you're going to do the action that it gives you. Then you're going to do any number of free actions. So for example, I have this gadget over here. You can put one of your ability stones on it. That will activate the gadget. That will give you, in this case, 2 more people. So you're going to do that. So one option on your turn is to slot in a key card and do the bonuses. The other option is to recall. Recall all of your key cards. You'll pull them all out, and there are 6 of them. And as you uncover these, as you move these buildings off your board, you're going to uncover bonuses, and you'll be able to activate these bonuses as income when you do the recall turn. You're going to do that sort of alternating however you like. You want to, obviously, the recall turns are less fun than the main turns, so you're going to try and do it as little as possible. And then after 13 rounds, the game is going to end. Here's sort of the board set up. The different actions you can do largely involve moving around this map. So a couple of things to point out here. Well, we've zoomed in on that part of the map. At various points, these cubes are going to come out. So when you put out a tile with a cube, you're going to draw some cubes from the bag, put one on the spot, and if ever you move into the spot with that cube, you have to collect it. So it's kind of a barrier. Now, it's good to collect. It gives you some bonuses. It can give you some points. But you're going to have to discard tribes or workers from the board, and then have to sort of figure out how to get them back if you want to collect these cubes. And you don't have a choice. If you move on to the cube space, you have to collect it. So moving around, collecting the cubes. These spots here with the shovel are going to have more ability stones there. And as you collect the ability stones, you're going to move up on these tracks. These tracks are going to score you points and give you access to various bonuses. And then you're also able to use those ability stones to activate abilities. And the other spots, like this one here, or this forest, or this whatever this is, mountain, those are spots where you can build a building. That's where you're going to take one of the buildings from your player board and pay its cost, which is usually discarding workers. For example, if I wanted to build on that forest, I would build, I already had this one, I'd have to spend a red gem, a white gem, and discard one worker from the tile, and then I would get to place this out, and I'd get whatever bonus is there. So that's largely what you're doing. It's going to be unlocking bonuses, building things up, and eventually getting to the end of the game. Every so often, you're going to, there's a score track, or a turn order, a round track, sorry, I don't know where my brain is tonight. And it's going to have you, at various points, take a sort of short moment to unlock an ability. So there's 2 paired scoring abilities, and everyone gets to pick one that they want to sort of super score. And then you're going to do that at the end of the game. You're going to add up your points for each of the various abilities and the other things you've gotten over the course of the game and see who's the winner. This is your round track. You'll see these various brown numbers are going to be when you activate those paths. They're called the scoring paths. And then at this part between rounds 9 and 10, you have to discard one of your 2 scoring cards. You have 2 goals that you're dealt at the beginning of the game. You discard one at that point, and you get some bonus for the one that you discarded, and then you can, of course, score the other one. Anyway, that's kind of how it works. A lot of this is going to be sort of upgrading your key cards and upgrading your actions, because each action can become better and unique in different ways. There's gems to manage, and lots of stuff going on in this game. It's it's an interesting one, but there's really a lot going on. So that's how it works. So what makes this game special? Well, first of all, this is a game where you have a lot of freedom to customize your own kind of way through the world. Not everything's going to score, but you have at various points ways to influence how you're going to score more. You also have, your own special ability you get at the beginning of the game, and you can unlock 3 more as the game goes on. You have a gadget you start the game with, and you can unlock 3 more as the game goes on. You can, focus on getting points on this green point track, because that's going to give you in-game upgrades. You can focus on moving up on these tracks for huge end-of-game bonuses. There's a lot of things you can do here, and everyone can kind of really do their own thing. It's also interesting because you don't really block each other in this game. Even, for example, I build on the space, but that doesn't mean you can't build there. When you want to build there, you just have to give me an extra resource. I think that's really fascinating. The game itself, even though there's a lot going on, it's not going to be too difficult to work on, to sort of figure out how you get from point A to point B. It's going to be sort of figuring out what each step along the way does. I will say that most of the iconography in the game is pretty good, and for each of the special ability cards, there's also a glossary that explains it in words as well. So if you can't decipher the symbols, you just open to the back page of the rulebook, and hey, it's right there. I also like, comparing this to Revive, that it didn't come with a stupid campaign that nobody would be interested in. You just sort of have access to the whole game from the beginning. Also, I've never played with it, but apparently there's this helper app that you can use, and then it will kind of set up the different tribes and special abilities for you. That way you can have them be more of a surprise at the end of the game. So, a lot to love here. Really, the most special thing about it is it's really fascinating to play. It's just a fun game. It's fun to kind of figure out which path you're going to take and to try something new each time you play. Those goals you get at the beginning of the game, they're going to be great focus to you. You can sort of figure out, okay, I can do this, and I was going to do this anyway, and so, make those work for you. It's not a particularly long game. It can take a while, but 13 rounds isn't that many. But as the game goes on, you're going to get access to better and better upgraded actions, more abilities, and so your turns are going to start taking a lot longer toward the end of the game. So, with that in mind, you're going to end up having a much longer end of game when you're kind of fully powered up than you do at the beginning, and I think that's also a good thing. So, where's the but here? Well, not a lot. The first problem I have with the game, and this is a component problem. So, in the game, there's these 2 things that you pull out of a bag. There's ability stones and cubes. And the game only comes with 1 bag and says just put them both in the same bag. And so that means you have these large wooden cubes and then also these sort of small flat discs. And that's really unsatisfying. You're always going to be grabbing the wrong thing when you're reaching in there. I really wish this had come with a second bag. And I think, for the price, a small extra linen bag really wouldn't have been that much more. I feel that was kind of lacking. Also, no way to store this game. It's one of those games that just kind of goes like this about storage. You're going to have to either print or buy an insert, or just bag everything up and be aware that it's going to take a long time to set up. With that in mind, it takes a long time to set up. There's a lot of things to put out. It's not one that you can just sort of jump straight from the box to the table. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Not really. Everything. One other thing. There's one ability that uses these pigs. I think it's a fascinating ability, but in order to place the pigs, you have to sort of look and see how many pigs are on the tile, and that's almost like a Where's Waldo at times. I really wish those were a little bit more clear. They really blend in on some of them. Other than that, I think this game is just phenomenal. It was a difficult learn from the rule book. It took a minute to kind of put everything together of, okay, this does this and this and this. But once all that kind of came together and fell in line for me, I was in. This game is just phenomenal. I really enjoy Recall. So what's my final rating? Well, I think Revive has gotten to a 10 for me. I could probably check, if only I had Board Game Geek here. If it isn't a 10, it's close to 1. I really enjoy Revive. Yep, I have it as a 10. It was my favorite game of the year it came out. This one might end up being my favorite game of the year this year because this is every bit as good as Revive. Now, I've only played it a few times. I still need to, really get in there, try the solo mode out fully, play it with all different player counts. I think there's still a lot more to explore here, but I can see this trending upward. Excuse me. Oh, one more but, though. I guess I should mention it. And this is one area where Revive is stronger. In Recall, it's 13 turns, and you have to remember to move the turn marker. That's annoying. I really don't like it when the game relies on the players to do this very mechanical administrative thing that is not fun and is not easy to remember. And if you forget that, it's going to make the game around longer. If you forget that you didn't do it yet, you're going to do it twice and make the game shorter, and that'll throw off the balance. I really wish there had been some way inherently in the game to make that unforgettable. Revive did it much better because in Revive you sort of go with an indeterminate number of rounds until someone has gotten all of these alien head artifacts, whatever they're called. So I really think that was a place where this game kind of let us down in Recall. So I hate that it's difficult to remember to move the turn order marker. But other than that, it's great. This game is so much fun. I really enjoy the puzzle here. I love that it's not even pretending to be thematic. You can't find the theme even if you look for it. But it's so much fun to try different ways to do things. I'm not ready to give it a 10 out of 10 yet. I think Revive may have needed a few plays before it got there. But it's definitely a 9, and I could see it going up. So Recall is fantastic. It is worth your looking for. I hope it will be out in the US and easy to find. Don't spend too much money having it shipped. You can probably wait, play Revive while you're waiting. But once Recall comes out, I think you're really going to like it. I hope a Board Game Arena implementation comes out. It's one of those games I always want to play. I really like it. So there you have it. That is a 9 out of 10 for Revive, but it's a very high 9. And that's going to do it for this episode of Wednesday Whimsy. I'm going to be back again next week with some other topic. Not sure what it is yet, but hopefully something fun. Until then, I'm going to wish you safe travels, courage when you need it, and I hope to see you back again next time for another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.